Hey friends, I'm here today to do a demo how-to for James McMurtry's song Cutter, the final track off the 2016 Complicated Game album. This is by request of a brand new subscriber here to the channel, 5 years out. Thanks very much for joining and listening, and I'm happy to work the request. Okay, a couple things we got to talk about, of course, off the top. First is the tuning that the song is in. On the studio recording, it's as I have it set up here. This is guitars in double drop D, one of James's favorite tunings, and the capo's on the 4th position. He has a bunch of songs where he plays it on the 2nd and the 3rd. Now we got the 4th. But the shapes are all the same. And if you haven't seen it, I've got a little demo that I did about a year and a half ago now, just on how James makes use of the double drop D tuning. There's a link to that in the description, so I won't go through any of those details here. Okay, so here we are. Oh, but I should also say that during the live streams, James played this tune half a dozen times or so. Never in the same tuning twice, I don't think. Maybe twice with one of them. But once he did it on the 12 string with the capo in the 3rd position, excuse me, and several times he did it on a baritone guitar. Excuse me. Now the baritone guitar he usually has tuned to some form, well, whatever the baritone equivalent is to double drop D, with using capos, just like he does on other guitars. And he played it both with no capos, with a capo on the 2nd fret, capo 3rd fret. So, you know, it's all over the place. So I figured I'd just do it the way it is on the record. Okay, let's see. Now, there are 3 phrases we're going to have to master on this tune. They're not too terribly tough. The first is that intro phrase I was just doing, so let's have a look at that again. We're going to start here in a sort of home position for double drop D, and we want to do it with our 1st and 3rd fingers here because we're going to need to use the 2nd finger to come over and do some stuff here. So let's take a look. Alright, now what I'm doing here is I'm just dropping down to that, I'm going to call it a C note. It's not the C. It would be if you were up in the, you know, in the uncapoed zone. So I'm going from here, then I lift up the 2nd finger, bring the index finger over here to the 5th string 2nd fret position, which is a very friendly G chord in this configuration, and then back to that original home D. Now, what he also does, both on the record and in the live streams, is when he gets to this chord, gives him an opportunity to do stuff like get some texture in there. So it's sort of like this. So there's things you can do with hammers on and pulls off and that sort of stuff, just to, you know, spice it up a little. All right, that's that first phrase. So he does it as the intro, and then he does it 2 times each, you know, two reps in between each of the verses. The verse is pretty simple. He dispenses with this part, and he just goes from the home D shape to the, you know, basically the G chord shape. That's it. So basically all you're doing, you're leaving your 3rd finger in 3rd fret 2nd string position all day on this phrase, and just letting your index finger jump between the 2nd fret position on the 3rd string and the 5th string. 3rd string you're in home D, 5th string you're in the G. Don't know what I'll say to you, shouldn't judge, but I often do. That's all he does. And after that, twice. that's it for the verses, is just those two chords. All right, the last thing we have to get down is the chorus. This is probably the most work you'll have to do in this song. The chorus starts out in what would be the equivalent of the A shape. Probably easiest to bar it with the end of your index finger. So that's these three strings, the second, third, and fourth on the second fret. And the nice thing about being in this double drop D configuration is you can just bar all four of those. And that's a good chord. That works perfectly well. So not that you're going to be hitting that note too hard, but if you do, no biggie. And another reason to do it that way is because the next thing you're going to do is the B minor shape. So, and then the third chord is the G, but doing it with the two fingers on the fifth fret of the fifth and sixth strings. During the chorus, he plays those three chords 4 times. The fourth time, he hangs on that G. There on the outside. Then he goes back into the... Alright, so let's walk through that one more time a little more slowly. So it's... I don't know the words, I'm sorry. Okay, now, you now have all the parts of the song. There's about, I don't know, 3.5 minutes in or so, in between a couple of verses, James steps out and does some really cool, stuff, jamming in between. So, and then comes back to the rest of the song. So, now that we've seen the main parts, I thought what I'd do, something a little new this time, is I'm going to go ahead and turn on the song here, starting at about the 1.5 minute mark after the whole first verse and chorus is done. First verse and chorus is just the guitar, and then at about 1.5 minutes is when bass comes in and then those keyboards. And so we'll just play from there for a couple of minutes together so you can see what you're hearing and what you just saw with our hands and get an idea how it rolls together. So this is the first time trying this, so a bit of an experiment. Alright, here we go. Oh, hold on. Let's turn the speakers on, shall we?
Say to you, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't want me to. Despite conviction, I still like proof. As the rain beats down on the motel roof. I miss those to life.
So I hope you can see how that all kind of comes together there with that section of the song. Finally, I want to wrap up with a little words on the right hand on the flat picking. The thing that I think works, at least for me, on this tune is just kind of looping sort of thing, a loping sort of thing, keeping that drone going. So I'm kind of coming down on my low strings, and then so I'm always going with a downstroke when I hit those walking notes, and that kind of thing pretty much drives the train during the verses as well. So there's the that's the main thing I'm keeping going. Of course, there's times when I'm deviating from that necessarily, but that's the main feel I'm trying for. And so, as with many of James's songs, with his flat pick, he's really mimicking a kind of a cross picking, finger picking style, but he does it with this. You can move them back and forth almost that quickly. Not quite how I do it, because I'm not him. Okay, friends, you've now seen the main three sections. We had a couple minutes of the song to see how they fit together. You got the tuning down, so I think this ought to get you most of the way toward playing this song. It's a tough one to sing. I'm not sure I'm gonna ever do it. It's obviously the subject matter is dark, but it's a great song. Thanks again very much for the request. 5 years out. Thanks for joining. Thanks everybody for listening and watching, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.